Hey guys, I'm Justin with CBI Off-Road. Today we're working on a second gen Tacoma. We're going to be installing the Dakar Rally hybrid front bumper. Stay tuned for the install. Okay, so now we're set up. We got the hood raised. We're going to take off the grill. Pretty simple process. We got 2 clips on these each side, and we got 2 bolts right here. So we'll go ahead and get those pulled out. Clipped out. All right, so grill's off. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull a couple of these clips out. There's 3 14mm bolts on each side that hold the crash bar and bumper assembly to the frame. Those will need to come out. There's a couple little clips that hold this body panel on. We'll be pulling that out. This side, the customer got a little buck wild, so that piece is broken out, so it saves me a step. But on yours, you'll have to pull that clip out as well. So we'll get at it, get these out. All right, so there's a few things we need to take out in this inner fender well to let us get access to the bolts we need to remove. There's this clip here, which you're not gonna reuse it, so you can kind of break it out with a screwdriver. And then there's a couple 10mm bolts down here. So once we get all that out, that'll give us good access to the main bolts and some other clips we might need to remove. So we'll get those out. Out of the way. Okay, so now that we got everything unclipped, we're ready to pull the bumper off. So when you come off, just kind of watch the side of your truck so you don't kick the bumper up and damage your truck. Go ahead and pull this down. Okay, sometimes this crash bar will kind of hang up on the thread, so just get a little persuasion from each side and it'll come right out. Okay, so the bumper's off. There's just a couple things we need to do while we're here. We need to remove these pieces here, one on each side, and those are a 17mm bolt that holds those on. Also, these ears we'll need to either cut them off or hammer them down so that our side support bracket will fit into place. So we'll go ahead and get those things taken care of. All right, now the skid plate's coming out. We got 2 bolts in the back that are 10mm, 2 up front that are 12. We're doing this to access some bolts to the sway bar that we'll need to remove, but we'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so now that the skid plate's off, we're gonna remove the bolts holding the sway bar on both sides, and we're just gonna kind of let the sway bar sit down into this area here. Also, these plastic little covers need to be removed to allow for our side support bracket. Okay, so everything's off. Save yourself a headache. Go ahead and put the grill on now, because once the bumper's up, you won't have the access to it. If you need to run any wires for lighting, winch, etc., now's a great time, but we're not doing that with this bumper, so the grill's going back on. Okay, so if your truck has this hook here, you'll need to remove it to allow clearance for the new bumper. And this truck being white, we're gonna go ahead and clean all this area and give it a quick spray coat of probably some flat black to blend in due to the open design of this bumper. So we're gonna go ahead and get scrubbed up. Okay, so if you're installing a Moab edition bumper, this piece is going to need to come off on each side. You can either use a number 2 Phillips or a 10mm to remove it. All right, so we got our bumper up, we got our nuts started on here that's holding the bumper. You don't want to run these nuts all the way in. You want to kind of leave them out a little bit to allow you to maneuver the bumper around, especially to get this serrated flange nut in here. So when you insert that into the channel, now you're going to start this bolt up in with a washer, and what this does is it adjusts the bumper up and down, so it lets you really tune it in to where you want it. So we'll go ahead and get this threaded in there. All right, now it's time to install our side support brackets. So these are gonna sit basically right in here. We have a long through bolt with a strut washer and a serrated flange nut to go through this location here. And then on the bottom, this is where we're gonna reuse our factory hardware for the sway bar mount, and 2 bolts up here with serrated flange nuts to hold this to the bumper. Let's go ahead and get that installed. Okay, so our bumper's secure. We got it sitting where we want it. Everything's tightened down. Now we're gonna move on to the inner fender liners. So as you can see, I've kind of Sharpied the line where we're gonna make our cut. But basically, if you just kind of shove it up in here and just draw your line along the bottom and then come straight out. Ultimately, what we're gonna end up doing is drilling a couple holes in this pinch weld and zip tying the liner to it. But here's your line for your cut. I'm just using a razor knife. We'll go ahead and get that cut and zip tied up. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's install tutorial of the Dakar Rally Hybrid Front Bumper on this 2nd generation Tacoma. He's now ready to hit the trails. If you got any questions, leave a comment below. Thanks.